All right, guys, it is your boy, the Don Shawn, and we are here on Talking Elite, the Prelude, episode 5. This is our final Prelude episode, and we have a special guest, Sam Shields, here with us today.
How's it going, everybody?
Guys, I'm really
Glad
excited
to be
for
here.
this. What's up? Glad to be here. Thank you, Sam. I'm glad to have you here. I've known Sam for a couple years now, guys, on and off. We've stayed in touch. I'm really happy that he agreed to do this. He has a very big match coming up November 6th, ECWA. Sam Shields versus Clutch Rockwell for the ECWA Legacy Championship. You want to tell us a little bit about that, Sam?
Yeah. So, for those of you who know who've been following me for the last probably over a decade, Rockwell and I teamed as the Midnight Sensations. We've won titles all over the East Coast, and we not only were we tag partners, champions, road buddies. We were very good friends, and we had a great relationship. Again, winning titles everywhere we went for over a decade now, and things have seemed to have changed lately. I don't know exactly what happened or where we went wrong, but he definitely seems to have lost his way, and I'm gonna have to put him back in his place. And it just so happens he has that legacy title. I'm gonna take it from
Yeah, take it from him. So in regards to ECWA and the title stature, the legacy title, would that be the title, the title for that
him.
promotion?
So I think a title is what you make it, and I don't think on paper the legacy title is considered the title, but it's definitely. I think after our last match and this next match, where I plan on completely ending it, that title will be viewed as the top title in ECWA. Anyone who saw our last match can tell you tell you there's no way anything else on that show would have topped us. And my plan is to make that the most prestigious title in ECWA, whether it's labeled the top title or not. Um, and it's going to come at the expense of Rockwell.
All right, I like to hear that. I'm excited. I actually just recently bought 2 of the Golden Ringside tickets, so I will be there for that. I will be taking notes on that event. Actually,
Well, awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. From what I understand about the first match, there was some controversy, huh, with the pin. People getting
yeah. So I don't know. For those of you who did tune in, he before the pin, it was a great fight, great battle. But to even get me to lay down, it didn't just take one finish. It didn't take 2 finishes. Didn't take 3. It took 4 finishes just to get me to lay down. And just so happens his leg was under the rope, so it wasn't even a legal win. I don't know what they're doing with these refs. They're picking for ECWA, but I think that's a pretty easy thing to cite. And again, it took him four finishes just to get me to lay down, and he couldn't even get a legal pin on me. So let's see what happens this time. I'm ready.
November 6th. We are ready, guys. Clutch Rockwell, Sam Shields, ECWA, Super Clash, if I'm correct. And that's something we're excited for. Guys, we're going to get right into this interview here with Sam. Just kind of a little bit of backstory just with wrestling and everything. Nice. We have our other guest host here, Guapo Grande, ready to join the stream. Guapo Grande, welcome.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on?
Hey, Sam, how you doing, pal? Thanks for joining today.
Guapo Grande Sam Shields, welcome to Talking Elite.
How's it going today, everyone? Sam,
what's up, man?
I don't know if you remember me. We actually worked a couple shows way back in 2013 at ECPW. I remember.
All right. Sam Shields. Yeah, I've that's probably I've been dropped on my head probably about 100 times since then.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I do come. I do vaguely remember you, but you know the road.
Oh yeah, back then I was super green, so I totally understand. I mean, I'm still super green, but you know.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to have you guys reunited here. Guapo Grande is going to be our special guest for after your interview, Sam. So he's joining us here. Just to kind of get right into it, we're just going to jump in, man. First question I have for you: what got you into pro wrestling?
It was actually a huge mistake. I didn't plan on it. There was just by mistake, there happened to be some backyard wrestling a block from where I lived. My friend wanted to go. He asked me to go with him. I said to just fool around. I said, "Oh, I'll go. I'll hang out." Ended up doing that nonsense. Ended up on public access, and then I I played baseball at the time. I got my trophy that year. And for those of you who know the indie name Deranged, I played baseball with Deranged when I was a lot younger, and I ran into him at that particular trophy ceremony. He'd been training, and he ended up bringing me to the ring to start training, and left all the backyard stuff behind me.
Oh wow, that's amazing. That's wow. Just kind of happened by chance, and now here you
are. Yeah. It wasn't a plan. It wasn't something I was like my whole childhood. I'm gonna be a wrestler. It just kind of fell into it, but it felt right.
Oh, that's amazing. Sam Shields, Bro St. Polo, the guest, the other co-host here for the Talking Elite show. Welcome, guys. Glad to have everybody here. If you guys are joining everybody? Us, mind, just please hit that like button, hit that share button. Let's get this episode out here. We have special guest Sam Shields here with us today on Talking
Truck Thug. Yes, sir.
Next question then, man. So when and where, like, I hear you talking about kind of like the guy started training you. So when and where, like, was there a specific facility that you were training in? Was it kind of like a garage thing? How did that play out?
Oh, I trained a little bit here and there, all over the place. So first school was Arena Puerto Rico in Brooklyn. A lot of the wrestlers knew it as Pedro's. You would find like a lot of Johnny Rod's guys going there randomly just to get away from their school for a day here and there. And then when that school closed, I ended up at the Doghouse. For pretty famous for wrestling fans, at least like a lot of the big indie names that you guys know either came from the Doghouse or were trained by someone from the Doghouse, especially in the tri-state area. I was lucky enough to get trained. I trained with Lathan there, and since then been able to get in the ring a handful of times with Homicide. So a lot of great experience I picked up there, and then from there I trained a little bit at Ace. Got to train with Azrael a lot there, and Jay Lethal. A few other pop-up schools came about, and then ended up at FSW Ludus with Joel Maximo. And then there's just been a bunch of guys that have been at different schools I trained with that I picked up stuff, like training with Ghost Shadow, training with I'm trying, and every seminar I've ever gotten to do just because of the school I was at. It's been a real blessing. Even though I didn't get to, I can't say I was at one school for a set period of time. I got to learn various different styles and kind of like kept hitting the reset button, and then in the end just took a little piece of everything and made it my own.
That's awesome, man. It sounds like you're well-traveled, well-seasoned, well-trained.
Yeah.
Well-rounded, Sam Shields. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anybody that sees me work, I'm a lot different than the average guy. And you can see if you really pull it apart, you can see the different aspects. There's no like one style. I kind of meshed it all together and made my own.
That's pretty awesome, man. I mean, I think that's definitely, at least in my opinion, I'm not going to speak for Bro St. Polo here in Guapo. I know as a fan of the sport, that's definitely one of the biggest things for me is kind of seeing the tangible pieces that people bring from multiple wrestlers or characters that they've seen over the years and kind of bring them together and create their own, especially in the time we're in right now as wrestlers, and wrestling fans. I can't even imagine just how much harder it is to diversify your product and really sell who you are to these people, man.
Right.
So what's your favorite part of the process then? I mean, you said you're so well traveled. You've been around, like you said, you've won championships all over. So what's your favorite part about this process?
I love the entertainment part, but as far as like more of a sport aspect than just entertaining, I love being in front of the crowd and getting that proud appreciation for your match when you do something they really like, and when just winning the crowd over, and then just like seeing and feeling the energy in the building when you're performing. It's there's nothing like it. That's what's kept me in the business and the sport this long.
Wow, look at that, guys. We are getting some great stuff here again. We are here, the Talking Elite Prelude Part 5. If you are just joining us, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that share button. We're going to continue right on here with our interview here with Sam Shields. Again, ECWA, November 6th. He's taking on Clutch Rockwell for the Legacy title. That is the next big match coming up. We spoke a little bit about that.
I could tell you a little more about that show too. So it's driving me crazy. And then you brought it up, and now it's just in the back of my mind. Like I teamed with this guy for over 10 years, and every big moment we've ever had has been attributed to me. And now even his Legacy title win, he wouldn't have had that win if it wasn't for me. And now he just wants to walk around like he's a big shot, right? So, like I said before, I'm going to put him in his place. I'm the one who carried that team, and I'm the one. I'm pretty much the most entertaining part of our last match, and I'm going to entertain and destroy Rockwell once and for all, and take that title.
Hey, like I said, so I'll be there. I'll be ringside. I'm excited to see that. You know, I'm hoping everything you're saying.
Yeah, maybe you can catch his head when I knock it off.
I'll be ready. So, Sam, you know, growing up, I know many people were kind of, you know, really big into like the Monday Night Wars and things of such. Was there any promotion that kind of stuck out to you, or that you would be jumping to when you came home to run and watch?
Yeah, during the Monday Night Wars, it was great. I was a fan, and I was watching the show, and I would like talk to the friends that were calling all the hotlines, and I would get like the scoop, try to get all the spoilers. But I would record one show and watch the other live, and then watch the show I recorded right after. I was just like everybody else, and I was so into it. I was a big Bret Hart fan, and so during that period when he turned heel, I actually loved it. I thought he was one of the best heels, just because everything seemed so genuine and sincere when he said it, and it just felt real, and everything he did, like always, just felt legit. It didn't seem like he was just like playing a part, and you could really feel that on the show. I always loved that. And then I also loved watching ECW. When I got into wrestling, I actually probably didn't even think I had a chance until watching ECW and seeing the size of those guys, because at that time, like everyone on TV outside of like the WCW cruiserweights were significantly bigger than me. But then after watching ECW, I actually felt like I had some sort of chance. It did eventually fold like soon after I started, but when I started, I only thought I had a chance because of ECW. And I'm lucky enough I got to meet a few of those guys along the way when working shows. Like I got to train a little bit with Tony Mamaluke over at the Ludus, and work with him there. And I've gotten to get in the ring with a few other ECW guys. Steve Carino, probably one of my favorite guys I've ever gotten to step in the ring with. Gotten there with him about 4 times, and every time was awesome. I would definitely love to step in the ring with him again if there's ever a chance. He was definitely on close to the top of my list, if not the top of my list of some of my favorite matches.
Man, that's amazing. Just speaking of ECW, like anytime I hear somebody mention ECW, I don't know why I go on a tangent, but I do know why. It's just, for me, ECW was it as well. You know, like I watched WCW, WWF, like much like you were saying, like how my brother was similar to you. He would record one, watch one live, have it, you know, I have tapes with the WrestleManias written down. So, but ECW, man, ECW was just different. And I think we mentioned this on one of the other Prelude episodes, was just the way those guys just came in, much like you were saying, the smaller guys, the Rey Mysterio Juniors, just
Eddie Guerrero's, Dean Malenko.
Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn. I mean, Lance Storm. Oh my God, just so many. And I mean, I'm just getting so excited thinking about it. I'm starting to blank on names, but Jerry Lynn.
Well, you know, before they came to WCW, they all had their run in ECW.
Yeah, you can think of all the top top cruiserweights, or even guys a little bit bigger than cruiserweights. Like if you think of all the top guys, they all started in ECW, made a huge name, blew up, and then went on to wherever they ended up. I just remember doing a show for FWE, and I had a small spot with Sandman, but I remember getting caned by Sandman. This is after I've been wrestling for over 15 years, and it was still like, wow, Sandman just caned me. And then and soon after I got thrown out of the ring by Tommy Goodman. It's like, and Tommy's someone that I've seen over and over at so many different shows, and I've been able to hang out with him, drink with him at a bar, and it was still like a huge deal. Like I got caned by Sandman and thrown out of the ring by Dreamer. It was pretty surreal.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, man. I can't even imagine what that was like. But yeah, I just remember for me, ECW, I think it was Heatwave 95. Obviously, you can't find Heatwave 95 on Peacock for some reason because all the censorships that they have. But I'm pretty sure it was Peacock. I'm sorry, Heatwave 95. It was the match. It was Chris Jericho, Too Cold Scorpio, the Pitbull #2, and there's somebody, the franchise Shane Douglas, and it was a 4-corner survival match basically. And these guys just beat the dog piss out of each other. And I just remember just like going nuts for it. I was just shaking the TV, like just going nuts, man. It's just crazy to hear other people, you know. When I hear other wrestling fans, it's always, oh, it was WCW for me. It was WWF for me. It's very rare, you know. So it's nice to hear from somebody that it was really like kind of like you guys. That
I've actually been lucky enough to get in the ring with Shane Douglas a couple times too, and it's unfortunate that he's not. You don't really see him in any of the big promotions right now, but he was awesome, and he was super down to earth. And this is a few years ago, and he was still running all his spots, and still went out there and gave it 100%. He didn't. He wasn't like some of the other vets you see on shows where they take it easy. He went in. He cut his Shane Douglas signature promo, and he worked a hard match and took his bumps and worked with me, and it was great. It was a great experience. I can't say anything negative about him. He was always one of my favorites too. So that was another big moment for me.
Man. That laugh, that signature laugh.
His laugh is pretty natural too. Like that, like when you're talking to him, like that laugh comes out, and it's pretty awesome.
That's amazing, man. Yeah, the franchise is definitely in my Mount Rushmore of wrestling for sure. I felt like what he did with that belt was very necessary at the time, man. So just kind of hearing that you liked ECW back then growing up, are you staying up with what's happening in the wrestling world with the major promotions nowadays?
I pop in now. I'm not at this point, like I don't it's not like I'm following too closely. I have some friends at AEW. I have some friends on WWE. So I do check it out from time to time, but it's not something that I'm watching regularly. It's just between life and everything else I have going on. But yeah, I'm happy for a lot of the guys I know that I either came up with or I got to help out early on. To see them doing big things right now, it's pretty awesome.
That's amazing. That is pretty good. I mean, AEW and just in general, just the way that they're kind of doing like the dark and the dark elevation and stuff, I'm starting to notice there's like a lot more local guys from the tri-state that are starting to get there. That's much like Guapo was showing me that there's somebody that he's, you know, he went to school with, somebody he trains with that, you know, that got to debut on there. So, you know, good for them. It's nice to know that there's people that you've been a part of their career that are kind of there and with the big guys, WWE. So that's pretty dope as well. I remember in the past we kind of talked about a few times, just like if you were ever going to get that chance. So I'm sure it's nice though to see these other guys, you know.
So when I came up, it was I came up at like a time when I actually got a little bit more popular. It was there were limited big promotions to really get into, and I had a few shots, didn't quite pan out, but that's all right. I got to do a lot of big things along the way. I'm happy with what I was able to accomplish, and I'm not done yet, so who knows?
Yeah, you're not, and that's the biggest thing, man. You're not done yet, and just this renaissance of pro wrestling. It's like you don't even need to end up in WWE or AEW. You can end up on Ring of Honor or New Japan, you know, Impact, and still have that same.
Hell, even GCW.
Yeah.
GCW,
even GCW,
like
right?
But they're blowing up huge too, you know. It's crazy for me, like as a fan. I just don't know where these big names, you know, like if you want to call them superstars or these giant, you know, stars of the industry are at right now, man. They just pop up.
It's great. It's great with all the big promotions you got. You got AEW, you got WWE, even NXT it's almost standing on its own, and then you have New Japan that's getting really big in America, and then you have even NWA,
Right.
MLW. You got all it's a great time for wrestling, and it seems like fans are really starting to get into it again, like they were back in the day, and it's exciting. It's exciting for all the young guys too to get there are a lot more opportunities now. So people with that dream have an actual chance of making it as long as they work hard.
Right on. Solid point, man. Hard work for sure, especially when it comes to this stuff. I can't imagine, you know, the bumps and everything. I hear like even when you take like a week or two off or a month off, it's like it's not as easy as people think. So
yeah,
definitely a crazy time. Just to kind of keep things going. Who was your favorite wrestler of all time? Then I know I heard you mention Shane Douglas. I heard you mention Bret Hart.
Yeah, it's hard. I can't really say like a number one, but like I have a list of like 5 or 6. I've always loved Bret Hart. I was just the realism that he brought to the table. I always liked him. I was a huge fan of Ultimate Warrior, still am. He was just out there, and I loved that. And I was just always a big fan of like guys that were in good shape. He had the cool face paint, and then loved Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho. You can see a lot of that, like their style, like in the way I work. I'm more of a power cruiserweight myself, so definitely, guys. I studied very closely when I was working on my style. So I was watching their matches over and over and over. Sometimes muted just so I wouldn't get any distractions from the sound and from announcers, and just watching every movement and fast forward and winding,
Studying the game, man. Seriously, yeah, wow. That's awesome. I mean, so then we're just with that being said, you know, you mentioned before that, you know, you really like Bret Hart with his heel run. Is there a favorite heel you have that kind of sticks out head above the rest with everybody you've seen come in and go?
I don't know. I to this day, I think Bret Hart may still be my favorite heel of all time, even though he was only heel when he was in the U.S., but he was face when he went to Canada. It was different than any other guy, because again, like there was a lot of truth behind everything he was saying. Like he really believed it, and even whatever he was saying that he didn't believe as much, like I believed it, and knowing as much as I knew about wrestling, even at that point, like it wasn't it just, you just felt it. And sometimes heels lose that, I think, now, and they're worried more about getting over and being cool. Like he did his thing, and he was still himself, and but he was able to work that. It just, his promos, man, it was just, I love them.
That's awesome, man. Just kind of keeping going, just with the favorite stuff. Was there like a finisher that you saw that you were like, oh man, that's the one? Like maybe I want to try and get a finisher similar, or just maybe a finishing move that you saw from a wrestler growing up, or even now currently, that you're like, wow, I really like that.
Well, growing up, I always liked the big power moves. Just because watching wrestling, it was they were all big guys, right? So whenever guys did like a big power move, I was a big fan of that. I liked. I always liked like big power bombs, like from like Sid Vicious, and I was a big Sid fan. I liked it. Maybe not as much now, but back then that was a huge thing for me. I like power drivers. I always thought power drivers were cool, and then I guess I thought they were cool because they're pretty dangerous. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Submissions were always cool too. Like I always liked stuff that looked like it could really hurt someone. Was never a big fan of like the leg drop as a finish or an elbow drop finish. I always liked something that looked really dangerous. I guess just because I could believe it. Like even before I got into wrestling, it was like I couldn't understand why certain moves were finishers. It was I never got it. I know everyone says, oh, it matters who does it, but it didn't work for me. I wanted to really believe it.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, man, I agree. I'm really at a point where, you know, for me as a fan, it's like, even for certain stars that are kind of crossing over from like the mixed martial arts world and stuff like that, like, you know, they're like, for example, and this is not to speak negatively on Paige Van Zandt, but like, you know, she's been showing up on AEW television, right? And that's cool. I mean, maybe 5 years ago, she was an up and coming star in the MMA world, and had she did this transition then, I would have believed it. But she just got her ass whooped in like her last 5 fights by grappling and by punching, and it's like, I'm supposed to believe that you guys are gonna bring this girl in and she can compete with somebody like a Britt Baker or something like that. Like, get out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, you know, like,
Yeah, it kind of works better when those guys are like coming off a win, or at least a pretty close fight, and then coming, and then they can look more like a badass. But after getting hit pretty hard, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, even with CM Punk, like, people are like, oh, but you believe like him beating Will Hobbs, and I mean, my bro St. Polo could tell you, I didn't. You know, I'm happy for him, but no way, the dude's huge, and he got his ass whooped by Mickey Gall. You know what I mean? But that's just, you know, that's just the fan of combat sports in me too that makes it like, man, I believe that's happening.
I'm one of those guys where I like to believe, though, the guy that's doing the move can actually hurt the other guy with it. There are some moves you see guys do now where either the guy doing it may be a little too small to do it, and maybe should be picking a different something else to do, or at least a different angle to go about like getting their offense. But it seems like it's open for anyone to do anything. It doesn't really matter right now. But that's just my take. Like, I think I do like it when it's a little bit more believable. That's the way I've always worked my matches, where I try to make it as believable as possible. But to each their own.
Storytelling of it all, you know? It's like the storytelling of it all.
It's all about the storytelling.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really it. So yeah, we're getting close. You kind of mentioned your least favorites were just like the leg drops and stuff like that. So we could kind of just really skip over that. Let's talk a little bit about what your favorite match of all time is. Is there something that, like, you know, that no matter what, when you're 60, 70, 80, you're like, man, I can sit down and watch this match and it'll still hit the way it did the first time?
Oh, that Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero's last match in ECW.
Ooh, their send-off match, huh?
Yeah.
That's intense.
That was awesome. I really enjoyed that. And there's also that match, and then there was a 3-way with Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit, and Triple H.
Oh yeah, that will always stick out.
That was awesome too. And I just remember Shawn Michaels taking the German from Chris Benoit, and he would take the German, and then as Benoit stood up, you see Shawn Michaels reaching wildly for the ropes and taking another one. Like, you'll see other guys like just take it and just go with it and prepare. He still had the wherewithal to make it to make it look like he didn't want to take it again. It just looked so good, so believable. That's something that really stuck out in my mind. And Triple H is a guy that I wasn't a huge fan of for so long because he was the problem I had when I was younger was that he was jacked, bigger than everybody else, and he did no power moves. And that was, as a kid, I wanted to see like big guys throw other big guys around. But I really grew to appreciate him and really enjoy his matches later on as I became a better worker and watch him, especially now. I think he's the last few matches I've seen over the last few years, he's been solid. His match at Mania with Daniel Bryan a few years ago, I thought was phenomenal. Yes. And really showed his ability to be able to keep up with a guy that could move a lot faster than most of the guys on the roster. But yeah, that 3-way I thought was an awesome and dramatic match. It was great. I loved it.
Oh, that's awesome, man, for sure. I think, you know, for me, and he'll tell you, there's so many Shawn Michaels matches for me that just stick out. That dude, I mean, he inspired a generation of workers, so I guess it says enough. But Jesus, man.
It's funny you mentioned Shawn. It's funny you mentioned Shawn. Like yesterday, I was going through his match with Kurt at 21. And they were just talking about the whole process behind the match and how like Shawn just took so many cells from Kurt. It was just like Shawn is like one of those workers. And Sam, speaking about workers, is there anyone in the ring, anyone in the business that you would like to work with sooner rather than later down the road?
So the one person that comes to mind would probably be Homicide, just because I've been in about 4 matches with him, and it's never been singles. And he's someone I've been able to work out with in the ring and train a little bit here. I've seen him at 100 shows, and hung out with him at backstage, and never got a singles match with him. And I'd love to be able to work him one time, one-on-one, because who knows when how much longer either of us are going to be wrestling. But I'm hoping at some point that can happen before one of us retires.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Damn. So that was what you would say, like your dream match is, just kind of left.
I don't know. I don't really have a dream match. I don't dream too much. But like, it's just it's like when I think of guys that I know that I've never gotten to. I think it's just everything with him is very natural, and he just likes to go with the flow. And he's another guy that makes everything look real and everything count. Just thinking back to his feud with Steve Corino. And every match I've ever watched with him while being on a show and just like training with him and doing anything, he's awesome. His footwork's amazing, and I would love to get a one-on-one with him.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Just sticking kind of with the favorite. This is like the last favorite question I have for you. Is there like a favorite pay-per-view or a special event that you watch that you could kind of feel like you would go back to, and like your favorite event of all time?
See, I don't have a favorite event of all time. I just have scattered matches across my. Like there was never one show that I said, no, I gotta watch it. I just I think at different points when I need something, whether I'm preparing for a particular match or a particular wrestler, and I'll go back and go back into the bank. Like I've watched so many now. It's like I'm like, oh, when was this match? And I'm gonna watch it, and then I go and I search and I find it, and I find others related. But there's never just one show for me. I've always watched wrestling a little differently. A lot of times I watched on mute. So because I've always like tried to study their feet and like how they move. I can't really think of one match. Sorry about that.
No, hey man, it's all good. That's why we ask, right? Because you never know. Like a guy like me, I love WrestleMania as well. Bro could probably love something else. Other people, everybody has their own thing. So, we're here digging into the mind of one of the local professional wrestlers who sit here and say, maybe you did, and now you're like, no, man, I don't. What I do is I watch specific matches to hone my craft, and guess what? We respect that.
Yeah, my mind's all over the place. You can ask anyone that has ever had to work with me and talk to me in the back right before. It's an intense process.
That's awesome. Well, that's it really for the interview sheet. Just the last thing I would have for you is anything you want to say or share before we let you go, Sam.
Just make sure you guys, if you can't be there for ECWA November 6th, make sure you find a link or you order wherever you got to do. Find a way to watch that match. Find a way to watch me pull apart and destroy Clutch Rockwell and take the Legacy title.
All right, guys. You guys had it here. Talking Elite, the Prelude, Episode 5 with our special guest, Sam Shields. Thank you so much for your time, Sam.
Appreciate you, Sam.
November 6th, ECWA Super Clash. Clutch Rockwell, Sam Shields, Part 2, the finale. ECWA.
Yes, that's right. We're going to end it. Thanks for having me, guys.
No doubt. Take it easy, Sam.
God bless. Have
all right, man. Take care.
Be great. Don Shawn.
Let's go, guys. All right. So, guys, thank you guys so much. That was us with Sam Shields, ECWA, November 6th, the Super Clash, Clutch Rockwell, Sam Shields, Part 2, and as you guys heard Sam say, the finale for the ECWA Legacy title. I'm very excited.